We're lucky to have Judge Michael Scopolitis from the St. Joseph's Superior Court here. And Judge, I was going to ask you a few questions about a topic that I call you should know your legal rights, or should you? And people who think, well, what's wrong with being armed up with my legal rights
Sure.
and knowing what I could do? And yet, what do you think are some of the hazards if we're relying on our legal rights to find our way through a personal crisis like separation or divorce?
In a family setting, the problem is when you're focusing on what your legal rights are, you're not focusing necessarily on what's best for your family. You're not focusing on what's best for your children and the relationship you have with your children, the relationship your spouse has with your children. You're so focused on what my rights are and making sure that I assert them all.
Right. And I wonder if you wouldn't add, I'm not even focused necessarily on what's best for me. It's just, could I win some points?
Exactly, exactly.
Because,
for example, I have a right to have the children back by 6 p.m. according to the parenting time guideline that the judge said is in place. My spouse has a good reason to have the children till 8 or 9.
No way?
No way. I've got a right to have them back at 6 p.m. and by God, they're coming back at 6 p.m. regardless of how it impacts the children and their relationship with their father.
Or their affection for me, affection with their other
Yes.
parent. Maybe their cousins are in town for the one time they'll be here in the next
Exactly.
6 months. No, I can't support that.
No, that's happened so many times in so many cases where there's been a perfectly legitimate reason for the children to stay beyond the guideline time with one parent or the other. It's been refused simply because it would be a violation of the guideline, according to that parent.
Right. We try to get people to understand that law is all about minimums. When I say that, I can make you do this, that means I don't have to do anything more than that. I can make you have the kids back here by 6 o'clock. That means I don't have to be a friend to your relationship with the children. I don't have to be a friend to their chance to have a social event turn out for them that happens to run past 6 o'clock.
Exactly, and if you look at the world that way, then most of the things you're doing are a hindrance and damaging the relationship that other spouse has with the children.
I'd like to close this segment by asking, true or false, don't all parents have this right? You have a right never to say anything good to your children about their other parent.
Absolutely, you've got that right.
What good would it do to exercise that right, to let your kids know that you think their other parent is they come from a piece of garbage?
Well, if you're interested in destroying the relationship of your spouse with the children, then you're going to want to do that.
And if you're interested in destroying your children's self-image, because of course they feel criticism of their parents as criticism of them.
Absolutely, then that's something you're going to want to do.
You have a right never to relate with courtesy at every pickup or drop-off. You can embarrass your children at each and every one of those occasions.
I would agree with that. If you want to do that, you have the right to do it.
You have a right to use court for every single issue or difference of opinion that you have.
Yes. You certainly do. You certainly do.
The message of all this, I think, is simply be careful about saying, I need to know all my legal rights and, I'd like to go exercise all of them, because a lot of them are going to be highly destructive to your children and to you.
Correct.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
All right. You're welcome.